Hello everybody, this is AZN Nerd or Kung Fury on Twitch and YouTube. Today we're going to be talking about your gear. Oftentimes my friends will tell me that I'm a glass cannon. I push out 255,000 DPS and sit around 65,000 health, and they tell me that I need more. I hear this pretty much all the time, and especially when they find out that I'm using a body piece with the talent Reckless, where I do 13% extra damage but take 10% extra damage, they just think I'm crazy. I mean, it might be true that I'll be able to live through a little bit more stuff, let's say about 70k health, 75k health, but there's stats you can roll in your gear that'll really save your butt. Let's go ahead and talk about some of those, shall we? Before we talk about the individual pieces, let's go ahead and discuss armor. You remember that stat you drilled over when you got your first greens? Must stack armor! Well, simply put, armor is just bullet damage reduction. From experience, either talking to other people, testing out gear sets, or reading other write-ups, it's kind of debated as to how important the stat really is. You get 1% of reduction for every 72 points of armor, and the more you stack, the more powerful the mitigation becomes, netting you 1% for every 71 points of armor. Every piece of gear you get naturally has an armor stat. However, you can roll extra armor on body pieces which provide the highest bonus. Backpacks, knee pads, and your holster. It takes about 3,600 armor to get you 50% damage reduction. Keep in mind, this is gun damage only, not exotic damage, which is your grenades and anything else not coming from a gun. Chest pieces can have 3 major attribute bonuses. In my opinion, to max out your DPS and survivability, the optimal role here would be to have a mod slot, damage to elites, and either health on kill or protection from elites. As far as talents are concerned, pick whichever talent suits your playstyle. I'll always recommend a firearms build to go with Reckless, assuming you have friends to play with, you know how to use grenades, crowd control, or cover to your own advantage. Knee pads can have 2 bonuses: crit damage, armor, damage to elites, gear mods, protection from elites. Again, I would recommend rolling a mod slot, crit damage, and damage to elites. If you find yourself having problems with survivability, damage to elites can be rerolled into protection or armor. This is one of the 3 gear pieces that can roll critical damage, so it's optimal to keep that as well as the mod slot. You'll notice really quickly that I'll always suggest a mod slot. I'll explain that in just a little bit. Knee pad talents are kind of bleh, but Perceptive will most certainly make getting those craft materials far more manageable. Backpacks are the 3rd item that can have crit damage on them. Go ahead and roll that because it's a massive boost to your DPS, especially if you've watched my previous tutorial where I talk about using SMGs for that sick firearms build. I recommend Specialized as the talent if you're running high firearms or stamina to get that skill power up, but really use whatever fits your playstyle. A holster can have 2 bonuses. Again, I'd recommend rolling a mod slot here and protection from elites. While you can get all 3 stats, firearms, stamina, or electronics, I think that's a wasted roll. Roll the 2 stats that you need to unlock the talents on your weapons, and really just get that extra stat that you can roll into a major talent. Holster talents are all about survivability, use whichever, but I personally prefer Nimble. It's really easy to cheese back and forth between cover and get your health back up, saving your medkits and abilities. Gloves are single-handedly your biggest DPS boost in the game. Always go for crit damage, crit chance, and either weapon damage or damage to elites. Pick the talents that best suit your weapons. I've heard that you can get Reckless on these bad boys, but I haven't been fortunate enough to see it for myself. Savage is pretty amazing for an all-around build, and Astute's pretty awesome for those sniper elites out there. Lastly, we have the Mask. All I'm going to say is crit damage, crit chance, and mod slot. If you're rocking that SMG, go ahead and feel free to pass up on the crit chance to roll bonus damage to elites. Masks are the last piece that can roll crit damage, so please, please, please do not pass this chance up. Gear mod slots. I've suggested them all over the place, and a lot of others will tell you not to. You can have 7 gear mod slots, with each having up to 144 points of firearms, stamina, or electronics, and they can roll crit chance, armor, skill power, and health. Of course, you'll have to craft a lot of high-end mods, but it's well worth the time and effort. That's about 1,000 points of stats and up to 11% crit chance that you're missing out on by skipping gear mods. Plus, they're really easy to switch around, and if you want to try different builds, they can make your gear setup that much more dynamic. Again, I didn't take into consideration all the builds that are out there. This is more of just a general guide to get you moving in the right direction to hit that 250k DPS or whatever your DPS goal might be. Just remember that if you can't DPS if you're dead. Don't feel obligated to settle. I've crafted over 60 of each high-end armor piece to get what I wanted. Use those Dark Zone credits to buy crap to dismantle for materials. Remember to recalibrate that gear. It gets really expensive, but once you get that god roll, it is definitely worth it. Even though you're going for a firearms build, perhaps you might need to make some stamina pieces and roll firearms mod onto it. Just keep that in mind as you're really making your gear sets. And then keep in mind that all talents are not equal, especially when it comes to your gear. In different situations, certain perks like Savage will really come into play. Doing PvP inside the Dark Zone, that extra 13% critical hit damage will make a ton of difference. 90% of the time, definitely just made that percentage up, but 90% of the time, the people you're going to be shooting are not going to be in cover. I'm not trying to tell you how to play the game or what you should do to play the game in order to succeed. This is just based off of my own experiences and what I've seen through my own gameplay. Now, while I am rocking a firearms build on my main character, I am running with somebody that is using a support build. He does not have very many electronic points, just enough to unlock the perks on his Liberator and Caduceus, and he's getting the rest of his skill power from the mod slots. In fact, if you've ever watched Naruto, he's rocking a Sakura-chan build that he likes to call it. He'll pop out Smart Cover and the Ammo Regeneration perk on the mobile support station, and he'll just plow through things with me. We'll run through most of the challenges in about 20 minutes, even the so-called difficult ones. But it just comes down to how you play. I mean, do what you want to do, whatever works for you. It's all gravy. Just don't forget, this is an RPG, and there are a lot of abilities out there that will definitely do it. Just keep that in mind as you're really making your gear sets. But if you have any questions or like what you saw, leave a comment below. Hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up, thumbs down. Any feedback is really appreciated. I'm currently in the middle of a move, so my next video might be delayed in coming out. But until the next time, this has been AZN Nerd wishing you all a great day and happy gaming.